Okay, folks, it's time for me to come out with what society tells me is a shameful secret of mine. I am a grown man who really likes cartoons. Specifically, I just really appreciate the artistry of animation. I think there's so much they can do with it, and I just really enjoy it. So, the last few years of seeing what Disney's been doing have been really hopeful for me. I'm one of the people who fell in love with Frozen. I'm sorry, you can talk all you want about how overplayed it is, how overhyped it is. I'm sorry, it really clicked with me, and I'm just in love with that movie. I still rewatched it recently. I still love it. I love the soundtrack. I love the characters. I love the story. It really works for me. Uh, Big Hero 6, honestly, I personally didn't really like it all that much, but there's nothing really wrong with it. It's a solid movie. It's written well enough. The characters are fine if one dimensional, and I appreciate the fact that it is basically going through the stages of grief with Hero's journey, which is nice to see out of a kids film. I just I don't know. I It didn't click for me, partly honestly because I'm a comics nerd. Shock of all shocks. And I was really hoping it would be closer to the Big Hero 6 comics. Which, not the fault of the movie, I know, but these are subjective reviews, and those were my feelings. In addition to that, Disney's TV animation has been just phenomenal the last few years. In my opinion, the personal highlights being Gravity Falls, which recently had a phenomenal series finale. Still miss that show. In honor of which, I'm wearing this hat for the rest of the review. Just call me Dippy Fresh. And Star vs. the Forces of Evil, which is a relatively new show. Finished its first season a few months back. Can't wait for the second season to come in. Uh, so, for the past year and a half, I've been feeling that Disney's really coming back after kind of the doldrums it was in for a little while. And yes, I saw Tangled. I thought it was okay. It didn't really work for me. I think the biggest thing was the pop soundtrack just really hurts a Disney movie for me. And I haven't seen Princess and the Frog. I'm sorry. I haven't had the chance to. I'm looking forward to it just because I can't remember his name. The guy who voiced the Goliath in Gargoyles is the sorcerer, and I really want to see that. Just for him, I could care less about the rest of the movie, but that makes me have to see it. Gotta find the time. Um, so yeah, I've been feeling pretty good about Disney for the last little while. Um, but then Matthew received a grim reminder. The trailers for Zootopia came out, and they looked bad. Like really bad. First one was just kind of okay. Like spent the whole time just trying to explain the concept of anthropomorphism. Like Disney has never done a movie with anthropomorphic civilizations before. Robin Hood. Sorry, a little bit of a cough there. So must be coming down with something. And then the sloth trailer. I know people who liked it, but one time was cute, then they just beat that joke into the fucking ground. Stop it! Stop it! It's painful in the movie too, honestly. Uh, and then the third one was just An okay trailer. There's nothing special about it. So I was planning on just kind of ignoring Zootopia, but then something happened. Critics really latched onto it as something amazing. Last I looked, it had a 99% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes and like a 95, 94 audience rating. And before anyone says it, if anyone listens, I know Rotten Tomatoes is like just kind of overall positive. It's not perfect example, but generally, if there's a high rating, it's worth your time. I find at least, especially the audience. So I decided to give it a shot. Decided to check it out. So a few days ago, had the time. Went to Dartmouth Crossing, paid my money, went in, and my thoughts. My thoughts. Does it is it worth the is it worth all the love critics are giving it? It's good. Like it's one of those movies where there's not too much objectively wrong with it, but for me at least, it never really got past. It's good. It was just. eh, I'm gonna get so much hate for this, but it was kind of similar to Big Hero 6 for me, where it's just like, there's this thing I really like, and that's just back down to just solid. Um, so yeah, Big Hero 6. It's a good movie. It's a solid movie. Does continue something I have been liking with Disney in the last little while with their feature films. They're going into some harder themes. It seems like um, Frozen was um, not too much into that. It was family and familial love and pretty basic stuff, but and there's that undercurrent of self-loathing, which I found really interesting, and I related to a little bit. I've had some issues. Big Hero 6, as I said, was stages of grief. Really did a good job showing the anger stage, which I liked. And Zootopia is about racism, honest racism, discrimination, reverse racism. How far is too far in combating racism? It's theme wise, it's actually really good. Like I said, there's not really too much you can say that's objectively wrong with it. The characters are simple, but it's a Disney kids movie. That's kind of how they work. So let's talk about the positives. Uh, the animation, it's Disney. It's really nice. For the most part, I didn't think it went. It was like amazingly impressive, except for one scene where the main character Judy Hopps, the bunny. Yeah, the names are painful. I know. Again, kids movie. Is going into the city and they show how it's set up. It's really creative. I thought one of the things that I found really cool about the movie is just like the subsections of the city, the different neighborhoods, I guess, are different climates. There's Sahara town, desert. There's a place for like small animals like shrews and mouses and rats and all that. It's just a really neat setup for a city and just how it all works. There was a lot of thought and creativity put into that, which I really do appreciate. Um, Other than that, for the most part, the animation was just kind of Disney pretty. There wasn't anything too amazing. Like Frozen had the Let It Go scene, which to me, especially if you see it in 3D, was just breathtaking. Big Hero 6 had some of the flying scenes which were really nice. This was just there was nothing too amazingly impressive in the animation department, for my opinion at least. The mystery aspect, it's pretty much the setup as a buddy cop movie. I thought the mystery was pretty solid. Like seeing her follow the chain of evidence and finding witnesses, and I quite enjoyed that aspect of it, and was quite well written. I think that for me, at least, the true strength of the movie was the two main characters. They were extremely likable in their roles, which a big part comes from the performances, in my opinion. Jennifer something. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name. I'm terrible with actors' names unless I've seen them a bunch of times. She's Judy Hopps, the bunny detective, and Nick Wilde is Jason Bateman. Is played by Jason Bateman. He's con artist Fox, and again does this really fast talking, smooth talking con man uh, role, and does a great job. Like clearly having a lot of fun. And Judy is kind of this wide-eyed idealist, really buys into the rhetoric of Zootopia. Everyone is equal, everyone can do everything, and it's her confronting the reality of the world, basically, which is a good story. I quite like seeing that, especially in a kids movie. That world kind of sucks, guys. You got to deal with it. Got to learn how to change it and fight it, and sometimes just accept it. And their, especially their relationship as it develops, is quite good. Their friendship I found really quite nice. What else to say? Um, there's really not too much to say in the. Okay, I will say one thing that I have a problem with, and this is personal, and it's kind of built up over the last few movies. I am so tired of the red herrings. I'm so tired of the surprise villains. They did it in Frozen. They did it in Big Hero 6. They do it here. It annoys the hell out of me. Because we see it coming. Like, or at least I did. Again, I'm an adult seeing this, so maybe kids were fooled. I don't know. I I saw it coming. Um, so that's one thing. I'm probably gonna get some flack for saying this. I really did not like Secure in this. I'm not a huge fan of her music in general. I found the song kind of annoying, although it was played over the scene of Judy going into the city, which I said I loved. Soundtrack wasn't reason for that. I'm sorry. And she's just she's this. She basically exists as a Deus Ex Machina to give this big speech about why racism is bad and how the city needs to come together after things fall apart. It's nicely written, I guess, but I don't know. Like it is one of the things where I would put it as a criticism movie that it really does hammer in the racism message really hard, and not in any way that's particularly clever. And that's the worst of it. That's the only time where it's like a big speech, which is when I get really annoyed with message movies. Uh, but on the other hand, we're living in a world where Donald Trump looks like he has a legitimate chance of being the next president of the United States. So, yeah, maybe we need to hammer that in. So I'm a let it go. uh, so yeah, that's really the only negatives of it. Like I said, it's not a bad movie by any means. It's just very solid, very average to me. Um, which doesn't lend itself to a lot of comedy or analysis, but I wanted to give my thoughts. I'll say all the actors for the most part do a good job. Idris Elba as the police captain is a riot. He's not really given much to do, but he him saying some of these lines is just hilarious. Seeing where probably two of my favorite lines of the movie are from him. On Judy's first day, he does this speech. Well, we need to address the elephant in the room. Francine, happy birthday. And it's an elephant officer. And then he's, Oh, and we should probably recognize the new officers who are joining us. We won't because I don't care. And just something about that cracks me up. And at one point, he says to Judy once he does, kind of a big "I'm here to follow my dreams" moment. This isn't some little musical where you sing a song and all your insipid little dreams come true. So let it go. And I cracked up. I'm sorry. I like kind of self-referential humor. So Disney having a line like that really tickles my funny bone. I will say one final kind of positive for it. The movie manages to be kind of creepy at points. The plot is basically predator animals are going feral and attacking people, prey animals. In the backstory of the movie, people have managed to animals and predator and prey have managed to find a way to coexist in harmony. I quite know how that works, considering the need for food. We don't see any fish. So I'm assuming they're not sentient. Maybe all the predators eat that, like bugs or something. Yeah, all we see are mammalian animals. So them going feral is terrifying, and the animation on how they do it is actually legitimately good. Just seeing them after seeing so many animals acting human-like suddenly be animalistic is legitimately kind of creepy. Like as an adult, I'm kind of like, ugh. If I was a kid, I don't know how I would how I would have done there. So kudos on that. Again, there's not really too much to say about the plot. It's a basic buddy cop story mixing in themes of racism. The racism themes, for the most part, intersects with the story really well. Um, do a great job of showing kind of internalized prejudice. Like Judy, she's not saying slurs. She's not gonna go bash anybody, but she's shown as having a bit of a fear of predator animals, especially foxes, based off an incident in her childhood where she was attacked by one. Uh, so there's one scene where she's giving a press conference, and during the questioning, she says that it might be predators reverting to their natural instincts. And Nick, who she'd asked to join the police force earlier, is understandably less than happy with her. He mentions that he saw her having Fox Be Gone, basically pepper spray, and points out her prejudices, and that I quite like. I like movies that challenge kid films that challenge kids, and showing that basically good people can still have prejudices. I honestly don't see that much in media, which I found quite refreshing. Um, yeah, not too much else to say there. It's a good movie. I do honestly, if you like animation, if you like Disney, I do recommend seeing it. You're not in for anything groundbreaking, but it's a solid. I think it was about 2 hours. I enjoyed it. Uh, it's not a movie I feel has a lot of reseeability value, at least for adults. But there you go. There are my disjointed vloggy thoughts on Zootopia. I'll end by saying I do think Disney is on a good train with their products, and I hope to see it continue because Disney's childhood, man. I love Disney. So that's all. Take care.